Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast, where we discuss health education and how to best teach health ed in the K 12 setting. Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast. I'm your host, Lori Reichel. This episode is going to focus on the springtime topic of how to teach young people how to self-manage growing up, including the changes of puberty. And I decided to wear for the YouTube channel, in case you're able to watch this on the School Health Educators YouTube channel, I decided to wear my sweatshirt from my previous podcast that is titled The Puberty Prof. So I have a little emblem on my jacket here, my sweatshirt. So that is in honor of that podcast, and I'll refer to that later on in this episode. So basically, this episode is going to focus on some simple activities, 3 overall activities to help support your success in teaching young people about self-managing their changes of growing up. A lot of these activities are great for 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade at that grade levels. And I know a lot of us during the springtime, we start preparing for those quote unquote puberty talks. Remember, we're supposed to talk more than once to children about these changes, yet not only inform them about the changes, yet provide them tools for growing up. Another thing about these lesson ideas, and I'll be going over 3, another thing is that they can be tweaked for older students. So if you want to review certain things for older students, you can take some of these ideas and just alter them for your students. So the 3 lesson ideas or activities that I'll be sharing today include the Puberty Grab Bag activity and the Dr. I Be Healthy letter activity and the Puberty Chit Chat Cards. So let me begin with the Puberty Grab Bag activity. Say that 3 times fast. I don't think I can. And this is an activity that is found in the book that Mr. Dom Splendorio and I put together many, many years ago. This is when the first set of the National Sexuality Education Standards were released. Dom Splendorio and I got together and wrote a book in which each chapter in the book referred to one of the topic areas of the original standards. So this was released in 2013, if I recall it. And the book is called Tools for Teaching Comprehensive Human Sexuality Education. There's a lot of ideas that are for high school, some for middle school, not really for elementary. Yet you can tweak some of the ideas to be more grade appropriate, like for 4th grade, 5th, and 6th. Please do what's best, keep your jobs, but also support the wellness of your children in your classrooms. So this first activity is called the Puberty Grab Bag, and it's lesson 7 in the Puberty and Adolescent Development chapter. And basically what it is having children be put into groups in which each group is provided a lunch bag with a number on it to help keep organized. And I have done this activity so many times with younger people and college students. I've done it. And basically what you do is once students are in groups, they all get a bag, and you also have to create a worksheet of questions that they have to answer pertaining to what is put in the bag. So they get the bag, and every bag has something in it that pertains to growing up and or a pubertal change. For example, you might put, and I have this from when I've used it last, you might put a washcloth in a bag as well as a bar of soap. I have a free sample here of soap, and that might be in bag 6, in which that group would get that bag and they would get a whole bunch of questions on a worksheet with this bag that they would have to research. And you can provide a very simple website if they want to look something up, like kidshealth.org. And they basically would talk about the importance of what's in the bag, as well as how this relates to growing up and how we can manage ourselves as we're growing up. So let me back up a little bit. I'm a very skill-based educator. So anytime I present a lesson like this, I'm always connecting it to life skills for young people. So again, people would be put into groups, and then there'd be a variety of bags, and every bag has a different object in it. So like I said, bag 6 might have a washcloth and some soap. Very, very simple habit of washing our face, yet sometimes we need reminders. There's a statistic out there about how even seniors in high school and freshmen in college, that they don't always wash their face on a regular basis, including when they first get up. So this is where you can know your students and put products in the bags that they can then share out after they do their research. They then share out to the other groups. So hopefully this is making sense to you. It's making sense in my mind because I've done it so many times. But if I look at this lesson in the book, The Tools for Teaching Comprehensive Human Sexuality Education, when I look at this lesson, it basically gives you all the steps. And some of the items that can be placed in individual bags include soap and a washcloth. You can put in a deodorant. I typically don't use antiperspirant because I know some people don't like antiperspirants. And I do have that group, though, talk about the difference between deodorant and antiperspirant. Also, I ask young people to reflect on not everybody uses this product. So, because that's a cultural thing or a family thing, they might not be allowed to use a product. Also, with anything dealing with the body odor, for them to learn how to use it properly, that would be something that they would share with their peers. So, okay, so soap, washcloth, deodorant. You can also put in a sports bra, because those of us that grow breasts, they begin to change. Well, first they begin to bud, and then they get larger for a lot of young people. And we want to tell them about this product called a sports bra that I know I use when I go jogging. You can also talk about compression shorts or a sports cup if they're still using it in some of the sports. So that can be a product in a bag because we want to make sure we protect our body parts. Other things to put in would be a testicular self-exam model. I know some people would be like, oh, young children can't handle that. Well, this is where if you use this activity and you're teaching 7th and 8th graders, put that into the bag. I don't mind using something like that with 5th graders because I already have norm/expectation set up. But I do go over testicular self-examination because we know the rates of testicular cancer, they're highest for 15 to 24-year-olds. So I want to give them the tools about how to self-manage oneself when we're in the shower, how we can feel for a lump. Another thing that can be put in a bag is a toothbrush, toothpaste, and floss, and a variety of other things. You can put in an I feel statement because that helps us handle our emotions and to express our emotions, because moodiness is often experienced by young people. You can also put in some things about the change of friendships, and it might be something about a friendship bracelet, and then how we sometimes have to resolve a conflict. A conflict is not a negative thing. It happens in all of our relationships. What's negative is if we don't resolve it well. So, okay, that is the bag activity, the puberty grab bag. And again, the intent here is that young people would be put into groups and then have one self-management technique that they have to share out, including a possible product or something they would use with it. Okay, so that's the puberty grab bag. The other activity, which is from the same book that Dom and I wrote, it's lesson 4 in the puberty and adolescent development chapter, and it's called Dr. I Be Healthy. And basically, this is to help young people figure out advice to another young person on how to manage an everyday thing that happens during those pubescent years. So in this lesson, there are simple letters that are written to Dr. I Be Healthy, and children would respond, your students would respond to these letters. So for example, one of the Dr. I Be little letters, are very short, is Dr. IB Healthy. Help! I'm breaking out so much this year. It looks like you can play connect the dots on my face. What is happening to me? What should I do? Thanks from Got Zits, in which whoever would receive this letter to Dr. IB Healthy would have to research some information and inform the writer, Got Zits, about how to handle this. And also to explain that this is a typical event that happens to a lot of people as they grow up. Okay, so that's one of the letters. Let's get another one here. Another one is, Dear Dr. IB Healthy, ever since I got my period in 5th grade, I have used pads. One of my best friends uses tampons, and I am interested in trying them, but am afraid. What if I try one and it gets stuck? What if it hurts? What should I do? Thanks from Nervous Nettie. Now, this is an example of how this might be a review for like 7th and 8th graders if you wanted to review some stuff and also introduce other menstrual products. So the menstrual products today that kids can use include menstrual pads, tampons, cups, and underwear. They're getting more and more popular. So to have students review and maybe go to a reliable resource and then write a letter back to Nervous Nettie that then can then be shared with others in the class. So this is the second activity in which students would receive a short little letter that was written to Dr. IB Healthy, and they have to write a response to it. You can even do it in a more creative manner in which maybe students have to write a poem or a song, a rap or something like that to the individual that wrote the letter. Okay, so that is 2 activities from the Tools for Teaching Comprehensive Human Sexuality Education book. Another, and these are so simple, yet they are brilliant. And these are the Puberty Chit Chat Cards. So basically, when I was getting my doctorate, I was doing research with parents of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And I was focusing on how parents talk to their young people about the body changes they're going through. Do they even use the appropriate terms for body parts? And the parents were saying that they needed resources. So I created the Puberty Chit Chat Cards. And every time a family, a health teacher, an instructor in another class has used them, they say they work beautifully. If you're able to watch this, go to the YouTube channel and you'll see that I'm holding them. They're in bright yellow on a cardstock. So it's a little pile of cards. And what I've done, I've even done this with future educators, is I put them into small groups. And you might choose to have it be randomly selected small groups or have children pick their own small groups. And basically, they get a bunch of cards in each group, and they sit there and ask the questions that are provided on the cards. Now, some of the brilliance of this is that the children don't have to answer the questions, yet they're practicing how to ask a question, including a question about growing up and puberty. What's interesting is when I was doing my research, I found that parents wanted their child to come to them and ask questions, but they didn't go to their child first. They weren't modeling how to ask questions necessarily for a lot of parents. So I decided to create these cards to help people learn how to ask questions. So here's one of the questions in the cards. What are 2 healthy ways a person can cope with sad or angry feelings? Because remember, those changes also deal with moods. Another question is, what are 3 different types of menstrual products? Where can you buy them? Where can a person find the right size bra for themselves? What's the best part of growing up? I love that question because there's a lot of positives. And then what are the common changes that most girls go through? So the cards are available in the terminology of most boys, most girls, because that's what a lot of us use when we talk to 5th graders, 6th graders about puberty. Now, these cards can be found on the website Teachers Pay Teachers. It's available on a PDF. So basically, you'd print them out on cardstock, cut out the cards, and then provide them to your students, again, in small groups of your choosing or their choosing. The cards are also found in the book, Common Questions Children Ask About Puberty. This book basically is a compilation of all the questions that children commonly ask when we do puberty talks. I kind of giggle when I say that because they're so inquisitive. Children are so inquisitive, and I love that. So the book was written with those questions, and age and developmentally appropriate answers are also provided in the book. It's won a bunch of awards, including the Mom's Choice Awards. There's like 3 awards that it won. So in the back, too, are the questions that are also found on the cards. So if you want to get the book, you will have the answers in the book, and then you just have to go to the back of the book and print out those pages on cardstock and cut up the cards, make sets of them for your students or for your family. If you're like, hey, I want to try this with my kid, I will tell you, the families that have used the cards have told me that their child, it allows them to talk. They can make fun of the questions. That's cool. Yet it's opening up the door of communication, which we want for young people. We want them to be able to ask a trusted adult questions, and that's what these were meant to do. I also had a dad tell me that when he would go over the cards, like he went over all of them with his child, and then every night his son would pick out a card before bedtime and want to talk further about it. And I thought that was pretty powerful. The dad was like, I didn't think it would be like this. His other son didn't care about it, but this one son did. He connected to it. So these are available as a PDF on Teachers Pay Teachers. Look for the Puberty Chit Chat Cards, and yeah, try them out. There's also a younger version. They're called Your Big Kid Now discussion cards. That's for us to start communication with younger children, first, second, third grade kind of thing. And then for high school, there's a set of cards that's called Before You Have Sex cards. And I actually have used those a lot in high school, undergraduates, graduates. I've had some friends check them out. And what's really neat is the last time I used it, that set of cards with undergraduate students where they were put into small groups randomly. Afterwards, they're like, I never thought about asking some of these questions about the topic before having sex. And it could be a simple question like, what would you do if a family member walked in on you during the act? How would you handle it? How have you ever spoken to a family member about engaging in sex? Another question that they sometimes struggle with is, what is love? And that's a great question to ask. And then another question that a lot of students really like to process is it, how healthy is it for a person to be in a romantic relationship if they don't care about themselves? So again, there are questions to help people think outside the box, think before doing things. And yeah, that's another set of cards that's available on Teachers Pay Teachers. So to summarize, we're heading into spring. The birds and the bees are coming out, in which a lot of school districts are supporting talking about puberty. Please do it in a skill-based manner. Self-management is perfect. That National Standard 7 is perfect. And there's the bag activity I went over, the letters that are to Dr. I Be Healthy, the Puberty Chit Chat cards, and remember they're also in the Common Questions Children Talk About Puberty book. And if you need a refresher about what happens during those pubescent years, consider looking up the Puberty Prof podcast. I'm not currently releasing episodes on that, but there's a lot of episodes with professionals around the world on specific topics. It's a review too. There's a couple of episodes reviewing common changes that most children go through, most girls, most boys. So have a listen. And yeah, if you want more information, you want to connect with me, please email me at schoolhealtheducators@gmail.com. Check out the School Health Educators website. That is for us folks teaching health education in the pre-K through 12 setting. I'm doing this because I'm passionate about our field and we need a resource specific to us. Also, thank you for doing what you're doing. I know some days get really tough. You might get some pushback on what you're teaching, how you're teaching, yet you matter. You matter to your students. You might not know this right away. You might find out years later, yet you do matter. And I really appreciate that you're there for the children and youth today. So keep on doing that great job and stay well, folks.